Welcome to the last section of day 1. We're now going to take a look at page 19. You can see this table in your book. Anytime you see a table like this that has a label vocab, which obviously stands for vocabulary, all you're required to do is to memorize the listed words. Learn what they mean and memorize them so you can use them later. Make sure that you create memory aids by using the formula that we talked about before. Do you remember? In many cases, you will see words or parts of words that are highlighted like this. The yellow highlight calls attention to cognate words and also portions of words that share the same origin like we discussed in a previous video. One example of how this will look in the vocabulary tables is this word vivir from tomorrow's assignment. Notice how vivir shares more than half its letters with some English words that are conceptually very much related in meaning. But don't worry about memorizing that word today. Just make sure not to look over these highlights that indicate the cognates, because remember, having at least some connection to something familiar is better than having no connection at all. Every time that you see a vocabulary table, it's very important to memorize these words. Learn them and memorize them well, because as mentioned before, the words that you learn in this book will be used as building blocks for the future. So as a recap, every time you see a vocabulary table, you memorize the words by paying attention to the cognates and also creating memory aids as much as necessary. Now let's take a brief moment to look at the specific words for today's lesson. By the way, don't expect a video for every single vocabulary day in the book. I may make the occasional video to talk about certain words when necessary, but many vocabulary days will not have a video. Also, feel free, as always, to ask me any question if you ever have one. But considering that today is the first vocabulary day, let's go ahead and analyze this one together to get a good first start. The first word, yo, simply means I in English. Try to memorize it. Maybe you can memorize it by making a memory aid like this. Imagine yourself saying, anything that I do, I always have a yo-yo on me. Think about that. You're relating the word I with the word yo. Well, yo-yo, which makes you think of yo in Spanish. Or you walk into a room and you say, yo, 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 I am I. And everyone looks at you because one, it's ridiculous. And two, people are thinking how full of yourself you are that you say the word I more than any other word in your speech. Maybe you can come up with a better memory aid. Either way, make a memory aid that works best for you. Try to visualize it. Try to make it silly. Try to make it memorable. Remember the formula. The next 3 words are interesting because, as you may have noticed, they all mean you. Don't worry, I'm going to break them down for you and help you understand to where it's really not that big of a deal. The first one, tú, is considered informal because it's mostly used to talk with close friends or also people significantly younger than you, maybe a little kid on the street or something like that. And this isn't really a hard rule, it's just a tendency. Just pay close attention and you'll start to really see and understand the little nuances of how it's used. The next word, vos, is very similar to tú, but it's mostly used only in certain countries. It's very possible that you may not even hear this word that often or never if you don't happen to go to one of those countries or spend time around people that are from one of those countries. Sometimes vos will just replace tú, and in that case, tú will almost never be used by the people that use vos. However, some native speakers in those countries and in certain regions use both tú and vos, and they themselves will explain that vos is just used for your very, very close friendships or family members. Again, these are not hard rules. These are just some comments on the most common ways that these words are used. Look at this as a generalization. The last one of these 3 words is usted. This word is practically used in every Spanish-speaking country, and is described as being formal. The reason is because it's usually used with strangers and also people older than you as a sign of respect. Here's kind of a comparison. In the southern parts of the USA, we would often say yes ma'am and yes sir as a sign of respect, primarily to older people or even strangers in a formal setting. If that's not the custom where you live, maybe you can think of a similar concept of how you would change your speech depending on how comfortable you are with the person or how much respect you think that you need to be showing that person depending on the situation. Remember that the explanation of these, again, this is only a generalization. Just pay attention to how these are used by the people that you speak with. Don't worry too much if you don't get them perfectly right in the beginning. If you don't use one in the best scenario, that's fine. Native speakers, they're going to understand you and they will be patient with you. The next word, ustedes, is the plural form of usted. In other words, it's used when you want to say you to more than one person. In many regions of English-speaking countries, another word is usually added to accomplish the same thing by using expressions like you guys, you girls, you all, or my favorite, y'all. There might be some others, but you can see what I'm saying, right? All right, next word, vosotros, or its feminine form, vosotras, means the same thing as ustedes, except it's informal, meaning it's used in a similar way that tú and vos would normally be used with closer friends, etc. Except this one's plural, so you're talking to more than one person. The masculine word vosotros that ends in os would be when talking to just guys or a mix of guys and girls. However, vosotras, the one ending in as, would be used when speaking to a group of only girls. The next word, él, there's really nothing too interesting to say here. It just means he or him. The same thing with the next word, ella. It just means she or her. All right. Now this next word, ellos or ellas, it means they. The masculine form with the O ending in OS, ellos, is talking about a group of guys or a mixed group of girls and guys, whereas ellas, the one ending in AS, is talking about a group of girls only. This is kind of a common theme you'll see throughout Spanish. The same concept continues with the next word, nosotros, and its feminine form, nosotras. The word means we or us, but if you're a girl and talking about you and your girl group, only girls, you would say nosotras. But if it's a group of only guys or a mixed group, you would use the word nosotros. There you have it. So make sure to create some memory aids, and as always, stop and immerse your brain.